Hello again. Okay, so in this video I'm gonna talk about languages that you shouldn't study at the same time. So languages belonging to the same branch or that are somehow related. So I made a list of languages that I believe it's best not to study at the same time. So Finno-Hungarian languages. So if you're studying Finnish, I believe it's best if you don't study Estonian at the same time, because they're similar, but they're just like Portuguese and Spanish, similar, quite similar, but pretty different at the same time, and pretty damn hard both. And Hungarian, I believe it's even harder. So now I'm studying Finnish. Yes, I am. I'm studying Finnish. Uh, but I want to improve Finnish. I want to master Finnish much before I get back to Estonian. I only studied a little bit of Estonian before. And Hungarian, I only made a few lessons in Hungarian. So now only Finnish. Estonian will be much later. I believe I will study Hungarian before I study Estonian. So then, Mandarin Chinese. Well, if you're studying Mandarin Chinese, I believe it's no good to study Cantonese at the same time. I'm a very beginner in Mandarin Chinese. I might study Cantonese like 10 years from now, or 12 or 15, or I might not study it. I don't know. The thing is, I'm not gonna mix Mandarin with Cantonese. Oh no, it's not a good idea. I've heard they're similar, but they're quite different. They have different tones and different pronunciation and so on. And for me, living in Spain, Mandarin will be much more pragmatic. Anyways, if you guys studying Mandarin, I guess it's no good to study Cantonese at the same time. Then, Arabic. Once again, another language that I barely studied. Okay, so if you're going to study Semitic languages, Arabic, Hebrew, Amharic, well, I believe it's for the best that you study one language at the same time. So for me, it will be Arabic. I don't know exactly when will I restart doing this, but pretty soon, I believe, pretty soon will I restart doing this. And so I believe that only after I master Arabic will I study some Amharic. And I won't study Hebrew, I dropped Hebrew. And then, when it comes to African languages, well, there ain't no such thing as African languages. I mean, there are a lot of families there, a lot of branch. So yes, you got African languages. There is Arabic, there is Amharic, there is Somali, Hausa. There are a lot of them. The thing is, I believe that if you're studying a language, which is, for instance, a Bantu language, it's best for you if you study only one. So, but in my case, I listed down three languages that I would like to learn a little bit better: Swahili, Wolof, and Yoruba. So, anyways, they're different, completely different, but I won't be studying all of them at the same time. And for instance, if you're studying Zulu or Kyoso, I don't know how to say that. I don't think it's a good idea to study them at the same time. By the way, I only chose one to study, and I don't know when. It will be the Kyoso one. And then let's move on. So let's move on to Asian languages. Pretty damn hard Asian languages. Well, I believe it's no good to study a lot of languages at the same time, and I believe it's no good to study a lot of tonal languages at the same time. So, if I'm studying now just a little bit, but I'm studying again Vietnamese, I believe it's best if I don't start studying Thai, for instance. And Burmese, I don't know when will I study Burmese, but it's not for now. It's not for the near future. The same thing goes for Japanese and Korean. Languages that are pretty hard, I believe. That's what I heard. So I was told. They are pretty hard. I only made a few lessons of Japanese so far. When it comes to Korean, even less, just a few lessons. So I believe it's best if I learn Japanese first and only then Korean. And I advise you guys to do the same thing, not at the same time. Then, indigenous languages. Well, I'm not studying Navajo now, not again. I put it on hold once again, but I believe that studying a language like so hard as Navajo It's no good. It's not a good thing. Not a good idea if you're gonna study like Cherokee, Maori, or Quechua at the same time. So, anyways, at least for now, I dropped Quechua. Navajo will be the first, and then Maori. I don't know why, but I kind of fancy this language. And then Indonesian Malay, okay, they're almost the same language, so I was told. But I decided to choose only one. So it won't be for now, but it will be Indonesian. So I prefer to study Indonesian more in depth instead of studying both of them. But if you're gonna study both, I believe it's no good to do it at the same time. And then something very, very hard too, Slavic languages. Well, I kind of started studying Polish. I'm not being so consistent with Polish. I decided to drop Ukrainian. But then, for instance, on my list I got Czech, Russian, and Croatian. Croatian will be much more for much later. Much later. Won't be for now. As for Czech or Russian, I believe it's best to master a language first. When I say master, I'm referring to attaining an upper intermediate level, which is already pretty good. Then, Scandinavian languages, Swedish, Norwegian, and Danish. Well, now I'm mastering Swedish, I'm trying to improve my Swedish. Norwegian, I studied a little bit on Norwegian so far too. The thing is, I will do it like only from time to time. When it comes to Danish, it will be the last for me to study, and maybe Icelandic. Okay, and then Baltic languages, Latvian and Lithuanian. I decided to drop Lithuanian so I could learn Latvian properly because I like the language. I like the way it sounds. It's pretty nice. So, anyways, those languages are not mutually intelligible, despite the fact that they look like that there are some similarities, but they're different. So don't study them at the same time. Then, when it comes to weird languages, let's call it like that. So Georgian, Armenian, Euskara, Basque. So there are some sort of isolated languages. There are other languages related to Georgian, I believe, but Euskara is completely different. Anyways, all those three languages seem pretty hard. Maybe Armenian is the easiest. So I believe it's not a good idea to study, for instance, I would say Georgian and Armenian at the same time because they both have their own script. They're pretty hard, especially Georgian. And if you want to study Basque, well, one at a time, I would say. And then Dutch and German. Well, in my case, I prefer Dutch to German. I like the way it sounds. I like it better. So the same thing here. And then, if you want to move to something really strange, well, Eskimo-Aleut languages like Inuktitut or Greenlandic, well, I decided to drop Inuktitut. Greenlandic will be maybe just to get some basic notions. Obviously, not at the same time. And I believe that's it. I believe that's it. There are languages that we shouldn't study at the same time. See you guys then.